Hi everyone, so for this video we're going to look at some characteristics when we're looking at graphs. And so here we have the graph of quadratic function with the vertex 4, 2. So remember vertex is the turning point. Okay, and then we need to find the domain and range using interval notation. So if you recall, domain means that you are reading the graph from left to right, and starting on the left, if we start over here on the left, notice we're starting from which x values. So domain are your x values and you're starting on the left. So notice this parabola with this arrow, it means it's going forever down and slightly to the left, which means as far as x values goes, we are coming from the negative x value. So they get smaller and smaller as you move to the left. So for my domain, we're going to say that it starts from negative infinity because it's going forever to the left, okay? But then we're also going to look at what happens as we move to the right. So remember, you read a graph from left to right. So if I follow this parabola from the left to the right, notice, if I'm thinking about left to right, the x values are going down, yes, right? It looks like it's going down, but those aren't your x values. My x values are going to the right. So it's going to the right forever. And so it's negative infinity to positive infinity. Okay, so now let's take a look at range. So for range, we want to look at bottom to top. So what's happening to your y values? And so if you look at this graph, right, we're looking here, the lowest points on this graph, well, both of these arms go down forever. Okay, so the lowest points on this graph really is negative infinity. So the y values get smaller and smaller and smaller. Now, we read a graph from bottom to top, so from the bottom, we see that it's going to negative infinity, but if I look top now, notice this right here is the highest point of the graph. So if I'm looking at y values, this point right here corresponds to a y value of 2. So the highest y value on this graph is 2, and because it is a part of that parabola, we need to make sure we have a bracket. So I didn't mention this before, but it's understood that anytime you use any type of infinity symbol, so negative or positive infinity, it's always going to be a parentheses. And then with other numbers, you have to determine whether or not to use a bracket or a parentheses. Okay, so because this is a part of the function, we need to use a bracket with that too because it is a value on that graph.